It began with torrential downpours in the southeast. A whopping 14 inches of rain in South Florida, taking many by surprise.
The houses have been converted into islands.
And that was only the beginning, as what falls changes from rain to snow. In some cases, enormous amounts of it. From a coating in Asheville, North Carolina, to what could be more than 2 feet of snow in the Washington, D.C. area.
We have very well-established plans to move essential workers, medical doctors, and others to their jobs during this snowstorm.
Up to 13 inches is expected in Philadelphia, up to 10 inches in New York City.
This is going to be a really bad storm. Again, the difference between somebody getting a foot or two of snow and maybe, say, 6 inches could be just by a few miles.
At least 3 major airlines are letting customers fly earlier than expected this weekend without penalty, hoping to avoid an airport crunch. And as towns and cities up and down the East Coast get roads ready for holiday shoppers and retailers, the timing could not be much worse. A storm on the last Saturday before Christmas, when up to $1 billion in goods was expected to trade hands.
But snow always has a negative impact. It'll always keep shoppers from actually traveling out, and particularly on the first day of a snowstorm.
Retail experts say bad weather typically drops sales 10%. But if more than 2 feet drops in some spots, it could clearly get worse.
I think if people are desperate enough to buy that last-minute gift, they're going to go out in the snow regardless.
This is clearly a storm that will be tough to avoid. And while, as we said, some in the south were surprised, clearly towns and cities now in the north have advance warning. This will be a long weekend. Katie?
All right, Jeff Glor. Jeff, thanks very much. Dave Price from the early show is working late today. And Dave, what is the genesis of this storm?
Well, this storm is the same system that brought all of that moisture to the Gulf states and Florida, some of it record-setting. Now it's beginning to move north at about 25 miles per hour. It's going to pick up some Atlantic moisture at this point and more precipitation and more energy as it becomes really a monster storm and begins to work in the direction of the northeast coastline. Computer models this morning really didn't agree, but now they're beginning to get some consensus. And where we're going to see moisture meet that cold air over the Carolinas, we're going to see snow. Some of it could be record-setting. Greenville should see between 3 and 5 inches of snow today. Roanoke, Virginia, 15 to 18 inches of snow as we head tonight through into the midday Saturday. Washington, D.C., 14 to 20 inches overnight through tomorrow. Philadelphia getting blistered as well with 10 to 14 and even 10 to 12 in New York City. Boston a little tricky at this point because we don't know how sharp a turn the storm's going to make into the Atlantic. Winds 15 to 25 miles per hour. We could see blowing and drifting snow and blizzard conditions occasionally in some sections. The Northeast is going to get hammered, Katie.
Sounds brutal, except for little kids who want to go sledding probably. Meanwhile, what about next week? Will this clear up by then? Because so many people will be traveling before Christmas.
Well, keep in mind, it's not so much going to be a travel issue, but it is going to stay cold. So many areas in the Northeast are going to get that white Christmas they were hoping for. Katie?
All right. Dave Price. Dave, thanks very much.